So I just came home from work and I have some book mail that I thought it would be fun if we opened together. Only one of them is directly related to Old School April, but we'll just open all of them. This is the Old School April one, so I'll leave that for last. And first we'll open my package from the Shelterbox Book Club. And this is a book club that features books from all over the world, especially from countries that are in need of financial help for any reason. So the money you pay for your subscription is used to send whatever basic necessities people from that country would need. And the book we have this time is The Map of Salt and Stars by Syrian author Zain Jukadar. And the description reads, in 2011, the peace of the Syrian city of Homs is disturbed by protests and shelling. A young girl, Noor, flees across the Levant and North Africa in search of safety. 800 years before, Rawiya, disguised as a boy and apprenticed to a famous mapmaker, set out on an epic quest to chart the globe, following the very same route. In the Map of Salt and Stars, the tales of these two heroines coming of age in perilous times interweave and shine a light on a country in turmoil, human resilience, and the power of stories. So this sounds pretty good. I don't think I will get to it this month, but I'll save this one for later in the year. Then we have an Amazon parcel, and I don't remember which book I ordered from here, to be honest. I don't usually order my books from Amazon, but I'm guessing this was not available anywhere else. Oh yeah, I remember now. This is Suburban Hell by Maureen Kilmer, and this is for the Horror Spotlight Book Club. If you want to know what that is about, I'll post their Instagram link in the description box. And I think this is a horror comedy. I believe this is about a women who live in like a nice suburban neighborhood, and I think one of them is doing yard work, and while they're working in the yard, they release some kind of demonic entity. And it says, even the calmest moms can't justify the strange burn marks, self-moving dolls, and horrible smells surrounding their possessed friend Liz. Together, they must fight the evil spirit to save Liz and the neighborhood before the suburbs go completely to hell. So I'm expecting this to be just like a light read, and hopefully it will be a lot of fun. And now let's open the most anticipated of these parcels. And I ordered these from World of Books, which is a store on eBay that sells used books for pretty cheap. The first one I got is James Herbert's The Rats, because it is the quintessential animal attack book, so I might read this one this month. Then I got a point horror book, which is Vampires Love #1 Blood Curse by Janice Harrell. And I got this one because I recently bought the third book in the Vampires Love series because I saw it in a charity shop, I think, and I couldn't pass it up, but obviously I need to read the first one first. And it says, Rena is beautiful, mysterious, and a vampire. She was bound to a blood curse against her will over 200 years ago. Now Rena is compelled to wander the earth alone, forever. Then she meets James. Helpless against her strange embraces, James falls under Rena's spell. But Rena has a rival, and Chelsea will do anything to keep him. A quest for love becomes a bloody battle for dark supremacy. There can only be one winner. So it seems like there's some drama here. And finally, the one I'm most excited about, because I had this as a kid, I read it as a kid, and I was kind of obsessed with it. And this is a Fear Street book, but it's not any Fear Street book. It is from the series Ghosts of Fear Street, which was the series I liked the most because they were more similar, I guess, to Goosebumps. They were less thrillery and more actual horror. Although I do remember that they got pretty crazy sometimes, and this book exemplifies that very well. And it is The Attack of the Aqua Apes. And this is so nostalgic for me. I have so many memories of me reading this. When I was a kid, I used to put a book in my mouth and then climb a tree in my backyard, and I would just read on the tree amongst the leaves, and it was magical. I don't know if I could climb a tree nowadays, so I'll just read it on my sofa. And the premise of this is very simple. It is about two boys that get some of those sea monkeys, those little things that you put in water. I don't know what they are in real life. I think they're actually fish, or no, I think they're shrimp, tiny shrimp. But anyways, in this book, they are actual apes, and they grow and grow and grow, and their teeth keep getting sharper and sharper and sharper. So I'm very excited to revisit this. I'm pretty sure it's going to be bad, but I don't care. It has such a special place in my heart. I have acquired a couple more books that I wanted to show you. I want to really focus on growing my collection of the British Library Tales of the Weird books. So I went by the bookshop and picked out two. The first one is The Ghost Slayers, Thrilling Tales of Occult Detection, and this includes 9 psychic detective tales. And I really wanted to get this one because for a while I've been intrigued by supernatural detective style stories, so I'm sure I'll find some really good ones here. And the other one I chose is Tales of the Tattooed, an anthology of ink. This includes 13 ink-soaked tales tracing depictions of the tattoo art form, from late Victorian sensationalism and taboo to 20th century encounters with the sublime and the sinister. I don't think I've ever read a horror story involving tattoos, but I think they have the potential of being really creepy. And look how pretty they look together. And there's one more book that I'll be unboxing. And it's a pre-order that I've been waiting on for a while, so that's exciting. And it is Loteria by Cynthia Pelayo. I've never read anything by her, but I've listened to so many interviews with her, and her work sounds really interesting to me. And this one in particular is centered around a lot of Mexican lore. Loteria is a traditional Mexican game. It's kind of like a card game, but it has its own set of cards. It explains so in the back. It says, the Mexican board game of Loteria is a game of chance similar to bingo. Instead of matching up numbers on a game board, players match up images. There are 54 cards in the game, and for these unique collections, reader will find one unique story per card, each based on a Latin American myth, folklore, superstition, or belief, with a slant towards the paranormal and horrific. So truly, I think there's no way this can go wrong for me. I'm so excited for this. The other day, I had to go get a blood test, which wasn't super fun, but on a positive note, the doctor's office is right next to my favorite bakery and one of my favorite bookshops. So I got myself a cupcake and some books. And this bookshop is the Amnesty Bookshop, so it is a charity shop, but it is dedicated only to books, and it's really big in comparison with other charity shops. And I don't know what it is about that particular shop, but they always have a great horror selection. They don't have a dedicated horror shelf or a dedicated horror section, but if you look all around the shop, you can find some really good stuff. The first book that I found was The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas, but I didn't buy it because it was £11, so I thought that was a little bit excessive for a used book. But I did get other 4. The first one is a point horror book, which is quite unusual for a charity shop, so I felt very lucky to find this. And this is The Stranger by Caroline B. Cooney. And this is about Jethro, a new boy in school, and he's dark and brooding and dangerously attractive. And this girl, Nicoletta, she gets obsessed with him. But the truth about Jethro is terrifying. So yeah, this looks good. Maybe a little bit of a dark romance. No idea. The next one is a short story collection by Yoko Ogawa, and it is called The Diving Pool. And I think these author's stories are quite unsettling. Some of the blurbs say they are very dreamlike, very disturbing, on the edge of unspeakable. And regarding the titular short story, the description says, a lonely teenage girl falls in love with her foster brother as she watches him leap from a high diving board into a pool, sparking an unspoken infatuation that draws out darker possibilities. Definitely sounds very interesting. Then I have a non-fiction book that I have been hoping to find for a while, and that is The Devil in the White City: Murder, Magic and Madness at the Fair That Changed America. This is by Eric Larson, and this is about the serial killer H.H. Holmes, which was active in Chicago during the 1890s. And I've heard that this author writes really good nonfiction because he has very in-depth research, but he combines it with very entertaining storytelling. And finally, I got Lockenbooth by Jenny Fagan. This is Scottish fiction, and I learned about it through my local library. I'm not super sure what this is about. I think it's described more as literary fiction, but the description definitely sounds kind of disturbing. The Devil's Daughter rose to the shores of Leith in a coffin. The year is 1910, and she has been sent to a tenement building in Edinburgh by her recently deceased father to bear a child for a wealthy man and his fiancée. The harrowing events that follow lead to a curse on the building and its residents, a curse that will last for the rest of the century. And the format of the novel seems to be written from the point of view of the different people that live in this cursed building. And I suppose all their stories will intertwine in some way. I'm not sure, but I'm very excited because it looks like it could be really good and original. So a couple of days after my blood test, I had to go back to the doctors to get my prescription. So I thought it would just be rude if I didn't stop by the bookshop once more. And they actually had new stuff, and I found 2 more books that I've been wanting for a while, so I picked them up. The first one is Bunny by Mona Awad. And of course, I've been hearing so much about this book for years now. And although it seems to be very hit or miss depending on the reader, it has a lot of the characteristics that I like in books, so I actually think I'm going to really enjoy this one. And we also have a non-fiction. It is The Secret Life of Dr. James Barry, Victorian England's Most Eminent Surgeon by Rachel Holmes. James Barry was one of the 19th century's most exceptional doctors and one of its great unsung heroes. Yet, unbeknownst to all, the military surgeon concealed a lifelong secret at the heart of his identity. On his death, Barry was claimed to be anatomically female. So I think this could be a very interesting piece of history.